Are you happy with your man tonight?
I'm happy with all my men tonight. You know,
we'll get to those ones later. For Anthony Yarde first.
Very much. I thought he was excellent. I thought he did what he had to do. He needed that. He had that disappointment in the States last time out where he couldn't get on the card because of the problems out there. But he did well. And he's a decent opponent he's in with, and that again will stand him in good stead. They're good rounds in the bank for him, and he got caught a couple of times. He got caught with a couple of shots, but I think he just felt like he could take the shots to land his, and that's what he did. And then eventually he broke him down and broke him up.
To clarify, is he the mandatory challenger to Kovalev at this moment, Frank?
He's number one, and I believe the WBO will be announcing something fairly soon, and that may be ordering Kovalev to fight Anthony.
Is he ready for it, in your opinion?
Well, everybody wants to rush him. I get so much criticism from everyone. You're sort of damned if you do it or you don't. In my opinion, I was just talking to David. I think the better the opposition is, the more you're going to get out of him. So we're looking at it and we'll see. And I was speaking to Tunde before the fight. He said after this, I think we're ready to go. And that's it. I keep banging on about it and I've become a right bore about it. It's about experience. He only had 11 amateur fights. He's had 17 now, but he's now coming through this and he's looking for me the complete article now.
That is a point that actually Richie made to our viewers tonight. The relative level of total experience compared to these top guys from Ukraine and Russia.
But also, and these guys who are from the Olympic squad have had massive amateur experience.
The very point that Richie made, actually. So, but to go back to you, Steve, for the moment, would you be urging Yarde into a Kovalev fight now?
I'd take Kovalev now. I wouldn't have taken it when we first started talking about it, October, November 2017. I wouldn't have taken it then. I wouldn't have taken it last year. But it's about timing. Frank knows that more than anybody. Frank is a genius at getting guys in world title fights at the right time, getting them in the right venue at the right time. And right now, I'm telling you now, Kovalev, here in this arena at the O2 outdoors, that's the time to get him.
Richie?
Kovalev could lose his next fight, and then we've got to go back to the drawing board.
Richie?
In an ideal world, I would have another one, to be quite honest, and hopefully against, like I said, the top 10 opponents. I think that would be the perfect preparation for Kovalev. But at the 4 world champions, although Kovalev's the most experienced, he's the one that's probably on the slide now, and he's the one to take, definitely. But I'd have another one first.
Now, David, just in terms of the package that Frank is working with, the technical aspects of it, are there little nuances that they still need to be looking at and tightening him up on?
You could microanalyze this fight and say he got caught with this shot or that shot, but as Frank said, he didn't feel in threat. He didn't feel that this guy had one punch knockout power. So why should he really turn his shoulder over?
Okay, but he does. The reason I'm asking you is it's that low left hand, isn't it?
Because he didn't do it tonight doesn't mean he can't do it. I think you're only going to see the best of Yarde when he fights at world title. I think anyone else you put in below world title level, he'll just go through the motions like this tonight and it will seem like he's way above them. He needs a world champion to bring the best out of himself. I think Kovalev is the right guy. He's straight up and down.
Yeah.
I think that blends with his style perfectly.
And I also think, Paul, he's very clever in that he'll take certain risks against certain fighters, but against top guys, he might not drop his hand so much. Exactly. He might not take those risks in punching range. I think he'll box much better against better opposition.
Go on, Steve.
Well, don't imagine that Kovalev is easy to beat. He didn't lose his last fight.
I agree.
He gave Alvarez an absolute boxing lesson, stunned Alvarez. Alvarez didn't know what was going on. And that's smart, Kovalev. He'll beat Anthony Yarde. So we need some luck on the night as well.
Well, as always.
He'll have to get hold of Kovalev. Let's get that right. It's not a walkover.
If you'll permit me, Frank, the one other question I would ask about, what you're working with Anthony Yarde, and I believe in him, let's be clear. Might he have to find another gear for a Kovalev job? Somebody like that. Might the tempo have to be higher?
I think what he does in fights, he goes out and he controls the tempo of the fight. That's what he does. And then when he wants to raise it, he raises it. If somebody put 3 or 4 shots together and he raises tempo. But the fight's always fought at his tempo, how he wants to. So he's in control of that aspect of the fight. And that's that you've got to take your hat off to him for. He manages to do that. He controls what level that fight's going to be at. Everyone who gets in there very aware of his power, so he controls it and he takes it, goes through the motions and eventually does what he has to do, which is stop everybody.
Given where we are, Frank, it's where you and I came in this business. The light heavyweight who we admired all our lives, under these lights, John Conte. In your heart, do you believe you've got a modern-day Conte?
I honestly do believe more experience, and fighting and winning a world title, I think he'd be phenomenal. He's a phenomenal athlete.
Yeah.
He's a phenomenal athlete. You know, you look at the two guys in the ring. They both weighed the same. He looks a weight above them. He's an athlete, and he's got great athletic ability. I really do rank him.
But I think that was a wait and see, in all honesty, which is only fair. Now to wait and see answer.
Well, yeah, he's got a see.
No, I think that's fair enough.
I'll tell you something. He punches as hard as John Conte.